Hello guys, welcome back to Beyond the Realms, and today I have a review for the latest film from JABB Pitcures, and I do not have the cover. I got a screener copy in here, but it is for I Am No One, which was originally a short version of it was on the last volume of the collective, volume 6, which I did review, and I did really love that segment a whole lot. So to get this in, and with it being basically a feature-length film, it was really awesome to see, to get a chance to check this out. The film clocks in right at like 59 minutes, like right at an hour long, and it basically begins the same way that it did on volume 6, except if I remember correctly, in the collective it had just words on the screen describing like how he found this guy, talking about how he was a horror filmmaker and all this stuff. Well, this actually has like a narration over top of it, and I don't believe it was like that in the collective. But really what this film is like, what it really brings to mind for me is like JABB's take on a film like Man Bites Dog, or Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. Not comical like that, much more serious tone like Man Bites Dog. But if you're going into this film expecting it to be like those, like in a sense where you get to see everything the serial killer does, you might be disappointed, because this film really just gets behind the pathos of the killer. Like, you really get inside his head. He tells things of his childhood and with his father, his parents, and you just really you get just a lot of what's going through the killer's head. This is all filmed in Chicago. I love the way it began. Like, after that opening narration, there is a shot driving through Chicago, very dreary and rainy, like right before the sun sets. Just really awesome cinematography right out of the gate, and the score, very subtle, very dark. It just all worked. Everything really worked. It really set a good tone right at the beginning of the film. And really, it's the camera just filming the guy and him talking, throughout different places in Chicago, telling, like I said, everything about his life, but also going in depth of, him saying why he does what he does. It doesn't really show him so much doing the acts. I mean, it's in there, but it's more focused, like I said, on the pathology of the killer. And the guy that played this killer, the killer's name in the film was Charles Lake. I'm not sure the guy who actually played him, what his name is. He's very believable. He gives a great performance, just a very cold performance. He's just, there's no emotion to him as he's talking about how he kills these people, why he kills these people, and what he does to them. And the thing that's scary about it is, not only is he believable in the portrayal, but the way he just blends in. Like he says, in a small town of a couple hundred people, you can fart and everybody will notice. And, in a city like Chicago where there's 4 million people, you blend in, nobody cares, and you believe that with this character. He's a regular looking guy who, he wears San Diego Chargers hoodies, Slayer zip-up jacket sometimes, hat on all the time, sometimes forward, sometimes backwards. He just blends right in, and this film shows him blending in. It's broke down into parts, part 1 through part, I want to say 5 or 6, something like that. But in some of the parts, there's no talking. You're just seeing him wander around the streets of Chicago. There's one part where he's at the famous Bean in Chicago, and he's just, you know, looking at himself in the Bean, and you can see him looking at people around, and you know, it's, to me it was eerie at the end of that scene, because he's going to walk away. He's like walking back towards the camera, and there's these three girls that are off to the left of the screen, and he just kind of turns around, and it almost looks like he's going to go up and talk to him, but he just turns around, he stops, he kind of walks up, and he stops, and he just turns around and comes back to the camera. It's just that observance of him, you know, knowing what he is, what he does. It's just unsettling, I thought, and it really worked. You know, one thing also that I really liked about this was, you know, one of the scenes in the film, I'm not going to go into detail what it is, because I'm trying to stay away from spoiler territory here, is why I'm kind of struggling, because I don't want to spoil it, but there's one part in this film which was just fantastic, where there's no sound at all, and it worked. There's no score, no sound. I actually hit the volume button on my controller to make sure my dog hadn't stepped on the mute button as she was getting into the bed as I was watching this, but no, there's just no sound in this part, and it totally works. You know, there's a very artistic quality to this film. I think it's much more, like I said, the pathological take on a serial killer, and like an artistic documentary take on one also. Just very different. It worked. I mean, you know, it's like I said, this isn't the first time we've seen a movie like this, but it was unique in that aspect, how it's artistic too. And it just had just a different quality to it, a different feeling. The cinematography in this is just, I mean, it's fucking gorgeous, man. I mean, definitely the best cinematography JABB Pitcures has ever done. There's a lot of just really steady shots. You know, you would think in something like this, is documentary style, that, you know, there'd be a lot of jerky camera. There's only very little of that. A lot of very steady, you know, wide open shots. And, you know, I love Chicago, and there's a lot of cool stuff in this, like Lakeshore Drive, and, you know, a lot of the downtown buildings, Sears Tower, all kinds of cool stuff. Looks like there was some stuff from Navy Pier. But there's, you know, one scene that I loved about this, you know, he's sitting here talking about killing people, and it cuts with his narration while he's talking. It cuts and it shows just a big wide open scene that just pans slowly of the lake up there, and it's just awesome. I mean, I just really love it. The cinematography is just striking in this. It's a beautiful film. You know, and there was a funny moment in this where he is like this telemarketer. He's selling this stuff called, what is it? Calamex with 2 X's, as he always says. And it's just funny because, you know, it shows him with headphones on. He's talking to people trying to sell this stuff, and he's picking his nose sometimes. One time he's on the toilet taking a shit, and he's trying to sell this stuff. And another time he's doing stuff around the kitchen. It's just, you know, it kind of breaks up the seriousness of it. This is by far not a comedic film at all, but that part just caught me, and I really liked it. But overall, guys, this is a really good film. I really like it, and I'm going to go out here and say that this is probably the best thing JABB has done to date, in my opinion. You know, Spike, you know, the very first thing they ever did, that's always been my personal favorite, but I think they really eclipsed it on this one. Just everything, you know, like I said, I really love that artistic feel to this. That's what made it different and unique to me. And, you know, without this, without the lead guy doing such a good job, you have no film, because it is all on him. The only other people in this film are random people on the streets, and just like 2 other actors, I think, is all. So yeah, I mean, if you don't have a good, strong, solid lead guy, you can't sell this film. But it works. The guy that plays Charles Lake did a fantastic job. Jason Hoover wrote, edited, and directed this film. Spot on, fantastic all the way around. It was a perfect length. I don't think, you know, it would have worked if it would have went longer than it did. I think the hour-long runtime was just right for this. It wasn't too short. It wasn't too long. It kept me interested the whole time. But if if you're not into a dialogue-heavy film, if you're expecting something more visceral like Man Bites Dog, where you're going to see a lot of crazy, disturbing killing and shit, you might be a little disappointed in this. But like I said, if you like a story-driven, just a lot of dialogue, but it's very interesting dialogue, and just getting into the mind of the killer, definitely check this out, guys. And JABB Pitcures, all during the month of December, is going to be having a big sale going on their website. I just saw a Facebook post about it today. I'm not exactly sure of everything that it entails, but I know it said something about $7 t-shirts, and everything is going to be extremely marked down for, I'm pretty sure, the whole month of December. So guys, this is your chance to get on this. Check out I Am No One. Also check out all of the collectives if you have not. This is a great collection of independent filmmakers coming together. Just great stuff, guys. JABB is a wonderful independent company. I can't recommend them more, guys. I'm going to give I Am No One a 7 out of 10. Definitely a great film, and check it out now, guys. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm Jason. I appreciate you all, guys. Appreciate you guys watching. Have a good one. Later.